One small lather for man, one giant shave for mankind. Why did I put a spin on the famous words from Neil Armstrong? Well, today is July 21st, 2020, and 51 years ago on this day, July 21st, 1969, is when Neil Armstrong was the first person to set foot on the moon. I think it's very interesting, very cool to look back on history. History is something I really enjoy. So, in honor of that shave, I'm using my 1958. It is a D3, and it's a flare tip, Gillette. And what I like about using this old razor, it's possible that whoever owned this, I picked this up at an antique store in Wisconsin, whoever used this possibly used it either the morning of or the evening of that lunar landing. And I just think that's really cool to be able to, kind of be a part of history in a way. So that's why I'm using this razor. This is actually the second razor that I purchased. Like I said, I got this at an antique shop. I got it for like 25 bucks. It's in great shape. It's extremely mild. It gives a nice mild shave. It's one of my favorite razors. It's one of my go-tos. Butterfly, of course, and I'm using the shark blade that I used in my first video. This is my third video. So I'm happy if you're enjoying my videos. But yeah, really love this razor a lot. As far as brush, I'll be using this West Coast Shaving Badger brush. Now this was the second brush that I purchased. And it's a Badger. It was pretty cheap. I think I got it for like 20 bucks or so. I've never been super impressed with it. It's the only Badger that I own. I do want to get another Badger because I think maybe there are some better Badgers out there. In fact, drop a comment in the comment section suggesting a Badger that you think I ought to try. But it hasn't been too bad. My biggest deal with it is it does shed. I've had it now probably almost 3 years and it still sheds. Not super bad, but maybe like 3 or 4 bristles, well, but probably between 5 and 10 maybe per shave. Not a huge deal. Again, it still lathers really well. It is kind of sharp when it touches my face. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but definitely not as soft as a synthetic, and obviously synthetics don't really shed. As far as soaps, I'm using Williams mug shaving soap. Again, not a huge fan of this soap, but it's probably the same. It's possible the same soap that the gentleman that owned this razor that I'm going to use used that day or that evening. I don't know, just trying to be a part of history. Not a huge fan of the soap. I don't like the smell that much, and the lather is so-so. But one thing that I am doing a little bit different, and I'll pour out my water here, I've kind of shaved off some of the soap and then kind of just pressed it down in there, shaved it off the puck, and then pressed it down in there, and then I got it wet so I can start whipping up a lather, which I'll do. I watched a video a couple of weeks ago on YouTube, and it was a Japanese barber, and he was giving a guy like a traditional wet shave with a straight razor, and he actually took out probably a pretty luxurious soap out of like a wooden bowl, and he used a tiny little cheese grater, and he grated a little bit of it into a bowl, and then he started bowl lathering just like I'm doing here. And I just thought, I was like, oh yeah, I guess you could do that. You can also load directly on the puck, which I've done before, but I don't know, just something I've done a little bit different. I know a lot of guys in the wet shaving community pass around or share soap, and that would be I guess a more sanitary way of sharing a soap puck. But it lathers, very well for this brush, but it's just never really been my favorite. You can kind of, I don't know how well you can see it in there, but there are a couple of bristles kind of coming off in the bowl here. Maybe I just kind of got a dud. It still works. I'm still happy with it. Like I said, it was only like 25 bucks. But it's just never been the best. I don't know, it's just not my favorite. Boar is my favorite. I've got a boar brush that I used in my first couple of videos. That's my favorite. Or first video, rather. Okay, I'll go ahead and start kind of putting it on here. And like I said, it actually performs well, but it does kind of shed. What else? So I got an alum block in the mail. I've never used an alum block, so today's shave, when I finish up here, I will be using an alum block for the first time. That'll be fun. How's everyone doing out there? It's funny talking about the lunar landing. There are people out there that believe that it was faked. You know, a huge conspiracy theory that people think that the lunar landing didn't occur. I actually know a couple of people that feel that way. But I encourage you to go to YouTube and put in Neil Armstrong fights a guy, something along it. You search for it. He's coming out of a hotel, like lobby, and some guy yells out like, "The lunar landing was faked," and he punches the guy.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
And he was an older guy when, you know, this is probably in the 90s when this occurred, and he punches that dude. So I feel like if he's willing to punch a guy over this, it wasn't faked. Like, he feels that passionately. And I've seen other videos where people have said it wasn't faked, and he gets very upset about that. So, but I'm a big fan of, like, the idea of conspiracy theories. I think they're just interesting. Two of the kind of more ones I've come across recently. Let me wet my blade here. One is that the Titanic did not sink. That it was actually a different ship called the Olympia that sunk. And that they switched the two ships. That, like for insurance reasons or something, they switched the Olympia. The naming is all they switched. And so the Titanic would have withstood that iceberg. The Olympia did not. And so, I don't know. You can do some research on that. And then, interesting enough, during, I guess, World War I, they scrapped the Olympia. They completely took it apart and used it for scrap metal to make ammunition and whatnot, destroying any evidence potentially that it was actually the Titanic that was scrapped during World War I. I don't know, just something interesting. Another one that I've come across fairly recently, this one's funny. There is a conspiracy theory or a belief that Jimi Hendrix did not die, and that Morgan Freeman is Jimi Hendrix. Have you guys heard that one at all? You should Google that one or find a YouTube video or something about that one. Also pretty funny. People believe that Morgan Freeman is Jimi Hendrix. Maybe he is. I don't know. Are there any conspiracy theories you guys out there have heard of or anything? I don't know, I just find that interesting. Little things like that. I don't necessarily believe them, but I just, again, I kind of like the idea that they potentially exist. How's this video doing? Oh, I didn't hit record. I'll do that now. I've got two cameras. I've got my Canon over here, and then I've got my phone. Okay, now I'm recording here. Now I have to do something to sync the audio. Here's a little video tip if y'all guys, what I can do is I can clap like that, and I can sync up the audio on that clap on my video timeline on this phone and that phone. So that's what I'll do. Now I've got two angles. This whole time I wasn't recording on this phone. What do you guys use for video editing? What do you guys use for shooting? And even if you don't shoot video, you know, YouTube videos, like if there's people out there that are just watching, do you do any photography? Do you do any video work? Since I mentioned in my first video that I've worked in TV news for like 15 years, I've shot a lot of video. I've gotten to do a lot of cool things and meet a lot of cool people. Hands down, the coolest, I met Willie Nelson, got to interview Willie Nelson, hang out with him on his bus. That was really cool. I lived in Arkansas for a number of years, so I got to interview Bill Clinton several times. Got to meet him and shake his hand. Very nice guy. Both guys super nice. Al Roker, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley. I met all those guys. Jesse Jackson once came through and I interviewed him. Yeah, I've gotten to do some cool things. Working in news as a news photographer, I've been to 2 hurricanes. And again, you know, politics aside, I mentioned Bill Clinton. I got to go to both of Obama's administrations in D.C. Inaugurations. I was working in news, and they sent me and a reporter and a producer, and we went to D.C. for both of Obama's inaugurations. That was cool. Again, you know, I won't get into politics, but either way, it's cool to go to a presidential inauguration. It's just a bunch of people getting together and, you know, witnessing history. Okay, start the second pass here. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this soap, but it works. If you're new to wet shaving, it's worth picking a bar of it up. It costs a puck of it up. It costs like $1.50. And some people may like the scent. Very old school barbershop scent. One thing that's, you know, maybe not on my bucket list, but just something I want to do and then possibly do more is get a traditional shave at a barbershop. I've never done that. So, I'll eventually get around to it. Hot towel and, you know, the straight razor. I think I've mentioned in my first video, I've got a couple of little shavettes, and I've dabbled in them. They're okay. I've cut myself not too bad before, but I've kind of nicked myself here and there. I'll get back into them eventually. I'll give them another shot. But I definitely prefer just the safety razor, double-edged. They're fairly cheap. You can collect a whole bunch. Some are very unique. I said they're fairly cheap. Some are really expensive. I've never spent more than about $25, $25, $30 on a razor. Yeah, so the Lunar Landing, old school razor, old school soap, old school shaving cream. Or, excuse me, aftershave. I'm going to use the Clubman. I got a little rough here. My last shave was a little rough over on this side. I think I'll kind of maybe hit a couple spots here, and then of course these areas here. And then I'll be done. Still have a ton of lather in the bowl. Just that little bit that I shaved off whipped up quite a bit of lather. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'm good here. I'm excited to get to this alum block. I'm gonna try it out. Get all the soap off my face here. I didn't get any video of it before I started this shave like I do. I just kind of forgot about it. So I'll get a shot of it. I'll hold it up to the camera. I'm guessing I'm going to feel a little bit of burn over here from it. Here it is. It's the Gentleman John. Got it on Amazon, like $7. I know it's really popular. A lot of people use it. Brand new, you know. So I think I'm doing it right. I wet it just like that, and then I just start to rub it on my face. Oh yeah, I can feel can feel the burn on my neck right here, just like I suspected. It's not excruciating, but I feel it. I'm gonna switch and hold it like this. There we go. Yeah. It's not bad. Feel a little bit of that tingle. But yeah, on this side I kind of felt that burn. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Set that in the little canister that it came in and let it dry out. Now I'll put on the Clubman Aftershave. So I just kind of came across Clubman. I had never really used it. Well, I'd used Old Spice for years, and then just recently got my first bottle of Clubman here. This is all that I've used. Super cheap. You can get it anywhere, and I like the smell. It's similar to Old Spice, slightly different. My grandfather used Old Spice, my dad's dad. So when I smell Old Spice, I think of him. My dad used British Sterling until they changed it a few years ago. Now he doesn't like it. I honestly don't know what he uses now. I still keep a bottle of it around, even though he doesn't really use it anymore. It reminds me of him. It smells like him. British Sterling. Fond memories. I'll do a little bit more. Fond memories of my dad splashing on British Sterling. Okay. Enjoyed the alum block. Enjoyed using that 1958 razor. And enjoyed talking about the Lunar Landing. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for watching my videos. Like and subscribe if you want to continue to see more in the future. Take care.